Good Friday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with Daily Technical Update. It is the 27th of March and this video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So let's have a look at how the markets are looking and what happened last night in the US stock market. Well, we had it was moving much lower again, and here we have the tech sector ETF illustrating the tech sector. We saw a sell-off and it continues its bearish trend. We have the 55 moving average coming up here and some support here at 127, 80, 90 levels, so just around 128. That is a key support that could be tested here the next few days. The RSI closed yesterday below 40 threshold, so that indicates we could see lower levels on the tech sectors or the tech sector in the coming days and weeks. Another one that is really under pressure is the industrial sector. It bounced a little bit here from the 100 moving average, but now it's back below and in a bearish trend. It's been in negative sentiment quite some time. We could see it pushing lower to 158, possibly down to the 200 moving average here. So the industrial sector also quite heavy. The only sectors that are still in a bullish trend is the oil service sector. New highs and is likely to push higher in the coming days and weeks, and the same with the oil exploration, oil and gas. Really strong move here the past couple of months, basically since New Year, really strong indeed. And then we have the agri business, as I talked about the past few days, that is still holding on here above the cloud, above 55 moving average. So that's everything that has to do with food and food supply and food companies and related manufacturers for that, including companies like Caterpillar, Deere and others, but also Cisco and not Cisco but Cisco. So really quite heavy. We have the transportation index, we can see here also pushing lower. So seems like quite heavy at the moment for most indices, but still some, of course, the energy companies. Nasdaq 100 got beaten 2.4% yesterday. Here's Nasdaq. It opened just below the support there. So continue its bearish trend, and we are likely to see it pushing lower to around 23,000, where we have some support. Negative sentiment indicating likely lower levels, and let's have a look on the future that continued to push a little bit lower. Aftermarket has bounced here a little bit overnight, pausing a little bit, but we are in a bearish trend and likely to push lower. The S&P 500 also a bearish trend confirmed, further confirmed, with a new lower low, and could push towards 6,400, 6,343. And maybe we should have a little bit of a look here what's going on really. So what we have here on the weekly, well, 6,400, just above it. We have some support there with the 55 weekly moving average coming up, giving a little bit of support. So if we get down there, I do believe that we will it will be tested. So a move lower towards the Easter holidays next week is likely to be seen. Let's have a look at the future, which is also pausing a little bit here, but we are in a bearish trend and likely to push lower in the coming days and into next week. On the Dow Jones index, it's firing a little bit better, but also because we have some oil companies there that is holding on a little bit. We had this strong bounce there on the future, so maybe that is helping the market a little bit, but still we are in a bearish trend. The small caps also lower yesterday, and yes, we are in a bearish trend, could push lower. Will it take out the 200 moving average and the peak spike down there? It is not unlikely. Hang Seng index in Asia this morning Well, it is in a bearish trend, but it's closing the week on a fairly positive note, 0.5% higher, but still in a bearish trend. Key support down here at 24,370. Nikkei, not really much to say. It's still the 50,250. That is the key support there. European markets got also beaten a little bit yesterday. We have the Eurostoxx 50 below the 200 moving average. The key resistance area is this gap up here, 5,694, and that is a fairly strong one. We are likely to push a lower. There's no divergence on the negative sentiment on the RSI. The Eurostoxx 50 pre-markets basically unchanged. So let's have a look at DAX that also is still facing a hard time despite this kind of a bottom pattern here. But let's see if it's pushing lower here below 22,400, 500 here next going into next week. Then we could see that key resistance here up at 23,160 and that 60, and that gap area that is key towards pre-market. Really not much to say. On the FX market, well, the FX market is still fairly quiet on most pairs, but there are some that has been moving a bit, and we'll look at that. We have euro dollar setting back here, so meaning a stronger dollar. We are still in a bearish trend, and I think we could see slightly moving lower. And if I zoom in kind of bit there and add a Fibonacci to this here, then we can see where it's actually, let's just adjust this a little bit. There we are, so we can better see. So we are currently trading around the 786 retracement of this bullish move there, but let's remove it. It's just if you are a short-term trader, I think we will see it pushing lower towards 114.80 and possibly down to the key support here at 114. Sterling dollar. Well, let's just adjust the chart a little bit. Sterling dollar currently trading around the 61.8 retracement there, just around 133.18. I think we will see it sliding lower towards the 786 retracement, 132.75. The bearish trend is still intact. It couldn't get back above this resistance here, strong resistance. So I think we'll see also sterling dollar sliding lower. Negative sentiment, no divergence indicating lower levels. Euro sterling basically trading sideways and needs to break either above 86.80 or below back below 86 level here. And I think the first indication of the bearish scenario to play out is if euro sterling breaks below 86.10, then it's likely to take out the lows there. Yen pairs. On the dollar yen is currently, as we speak, pushing above the resistance there, and just around 160. We can see it is just below 160. So what does it mean? What we can do is we can take the Fibonacci there and project where it could move to. So 161.8 is 161.37. 1764 is at 161.70 and a change. And if we're looking at the weekly chart and go back here, we can see the peak here back in July 2024. It was just under 162, 161.95. So that's where we could be headed here in the coming week or so towards the 162 level. The euro yen still needs to break above 184.75.80 here. The resistance that is key, and RSI needs to close back above 60 threshold. Then we are likely to push higher towards the peaks here around 186.25 and 186.85. Aussie yen, on the other hand, is on the move a little bit, sliding low. We talked about it yesterday, now below 110 or trading around 110. But we have the 55 moving average coming up here, giving some support. So maybe we could have a little bit of a bounce. So that will be key towards here today and going into next week, where we have support here, 109.35. So really a key support to look out for. RSI is still positive, but if it slides back below 40, then we have a bearish situation building here. Sterling yen, once again, and let's just make it even more clear with the horizontal line right there. So 213.30 key resistance. So 1, 2, 3 times. So that's really a key level, and it's just around the 786 retracement here, just within a few pips. So if it takes out that resistance, well, then we could be looking at 215 really quickly. So still in a bullish trend, and as long as it stays above the rising trend line, it is well intact. The Aussie dollar, and that is what has been on the move, and that has inflicted on the Aussie yen, has pushed below the support there at 68.95, trading just on that. But look at this. This is the key support to look out for. It is the lower part of the cloud there, which is around 68.60. So that seems to be a significant support. It could be challenged, it could be tested. If it takes it out, well, then we have the 100 moving average coming up here. We are actually in a negative sentiment. So, and we have established a bearish trend, lower low, lower high, and now a lower low. So we have established a bearish trend on the Aussie dollar, and it could spike all the way down below 68 to 67, 65. On the dollar Canada is pushing higher, taking out the 786 retracement. So I expect it to push towards 139.25 here in the well, will it happen today? Time is always a factor that is really hard to predict, even harder to predict than direction. But we are on a bullish trend, and we are likely to see it up there going into next week. Positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence indicating that move. The sterling Canada setting back a little bit, being knocked down here, back down here at the or by the 100 and the 55 moving average, which has now crossed below the 100 moving average. So it is pushing in that direction. I think they were both slightly, or at least the 100 moving was also slightly declining when that occurred. So we have a strong resistance. So I expect it to slide back here. Unless it really takes out 85.15 here, well, then we could see a push higher, but I think that will not play out. Again, this is not advice. You have to take your precautions if you are trading this. Euro Swiss, strangely if enough, is being weakened. So we have the high Euro Swiss currently above the cloud, above the 60 threshold on the RSI. So this one is obsolete now. So we are in a positive sentiment, bullish trend. Next resistance area is just around 92.70, 92.20. But then we have the 100 moving average coming down. But with this energy here, it could push a little bit higher also, but 92 plus area, 17.20 area. Dollar Swiss also pushing higher in a rising trend here, rising channel, positive sentiment likely to push higher. There's room up to around 80.40. Resistance, these peaks here back from January, so that seems like where we're headed at the moment, but be aware it could also slide a little bit back. It will possibly be a bit volatile, but for now I think we are pushing towards this 80.40 level. Dollar index, if it takes out the spike up there at 99.97, just around the 786 retracement, well, then I think we will see it having a go at this 100.35 key resistance. We are in a bullish trend, and with higher highs and higher lows and so on. RSI is close to breaking back above 60 threshold, but it already broke above the falling trend line, indicating this bullish scenario to play out. On the metal side, and gold, well, sold off yesterday, bouncing a little bit here in the Asian session, but it dipped down to the 50% retracement of this bounce there at 43.50. If it takes out that level, then I think we will see it it could actually be beaten all the way down here to the 4,000 again, just above that, maybe lower. But then we have at least some levels here, 42.90 and 4200, 4206, that could be tested. To re-establish a bullish trend, well, then we are talking about moves above 4,602 is the minimum requirement. The silver, well, also in a bearish trend, bouncing a little bit here in Asian session, but still in a bearish trend. And if you're really short-term trader on this, which I am not, then we could put in some Fibonacci levels there, and the 786 down here at 63.87 is quite significant. So keep an eye on that. But I will remove it again there just to clean it up a little bit. Platinum, well, bouncing also a little bit, but we are still in a bearish trend, and it needs to get back above at least 1997 to maybe reverse this trend here. But that would be a really hard job to do. Copper, more or less the same picture, really. Bearish trend, but key support down here around 525 and the 200 moving average. So that could be a too strong support area to penetrate for copper. If it moves back above the 100 moving average, then we could see it having a push towards 575, 580, maybe even here at the 61.8 retracement. And let's move on to what's really being talked about. Obviously, it's the energy market, the oil market, and the excuse me, the WTI Crude Oil is once again testing the 61.8 retracement there at 95.06. I think it will push higher. The next one is 97.97. And then, of course, the key resistance up here, 102.42. So let's see what happens over the weekend. Seems like market is really not trusting the ceasefires, let's call it that, that is going on in the Gulf area, not the Gulf area, sorry, the Middle East area. The Brent Crude Oil is already pushing higher, 61.8 retracement there at 110.29. It's likely to be tested, and it could take out the peak up there at 114.43. If it does that, then I think we will see it also taking out these peaks here just below $120, and I do have targets much higher, unfortunately, on oil. The gas market, well, European nat gas has bounced off support there at 48.43 here a few days ago, and I think it will bounce further in the coming days and could move back above 60 euros towards 64, maybe even higher if the panic is spreading again. The US nat gas, on the other hand, is just fairly boring, not really much doing. So that's good for the US consumers, trading around just below $3. The US 10-year Treasury yield has regained its strength after a minor correction that only took back 50% of this uptrend there. So let's see where it could move to. So let's see both the daily and the weekly chart. So 448, so just below 450 is a likely move, and it could be taking it out. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. We also have the spike up there, which is just around 451. So in this region here, I wouldn't be surprised it could happen today, or in I think more likely next week, as long as it stays above the little spike down there at 430. So 430 is the key support, but look at the weekly here where it's really headed to. RSI above the 60 threshold already last week, so it's confirmed bullish trend above the cloud. So really a strong move there, unfortunately. So higher interest rate because everyone is expecting inflation to kick back up. The EU 10-year, well, massive move yesterday, took it back above the peak there, so a new peak towards 312, 318 possibly here going in and towards Easter. The UK 10 also in a bullish move and could push back above 5%. It's currently just below it, but I think we'll see it pushing back above 5% unless it suddenly moves back below the 418. Japanese 10, well, also on the move. And I think next week we are likely to see it up towards 250. Really strong move here. We have a target here, 138.2 projection of this. It's already above this minor resistance here, and then the key will be there at the peak 238. On the Bitcoin, well, sitting back a little bit yesterday, still in a bullish trend, still above the rising trend line. 67,300 key support here should be observed. If it takes out that, well, then we are back. I established a bullish, bearish trend. Same picture on Ethereum, obviously. It's a 2020 support. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and a nice weekend when you get to there. I will send out an update on some of the most significant stock moves in US last night, just before or prior to the US market opening. I'll try to do that. Have a nice day and nice weekend, and keep charting.